Hi, I'm Ryan Croton. I'm the president of RC13 Sports. We're a brand new high performance consulting firm, and we've created this specifically for MLB people, MLB performance specialists. I have been in your shoes. I know how much you give, I know how much you receive, and we really want to make sure that your time is valued. You got a lot to give the amateur sport community, particularly in baseball. And you're probably wondering, why do I got these massive blue light blocking glasses on? It's because I got monitors all over my office, remotely programming players all over the world. And we need some help. We need to have really good people in the door who want to make a great passive income and really complement all the great things that you guys are doing in Major League Baseball. I appreciate you staying tuned. And please, reach out to us afterwards as we're excited to meet you, excited to bring you on. Thanks. I don't want to get too deep into my background, but I've done a postdoctoral fellowship at Penn Medicine. I'm an exercise physiologist and biomechanist focused on fatigue-related mechanisms of injuries in pitchers. I've done some work on the national team level, had approximately a 10-year MLB career, being into research and development into sports technology and other factors that influence how athletes recover and prevent injuries. And I'm just so excited to be able to present this to you because now I'm involved in how to train athletes at a very high level and being able to utilize electronics to do this. Our tagline is our goals are achieving your goals, and that's a really big piece for me is to own the goals of our clients, make them our own because that's how we get results. This all started when I had joined the Angels and I was able to oversee an all-star team of people. I just have a collection of the early members there, but we expanded. We had, female strength coaches and a high performance specialist come in, very multidisciplinary, and we saw each other as equals, as a family. But what happened was that we had a COVID explosion, like many of you who are listening to this. But unfortunately, our organization ended up furloughing almost all my staff except the Major League Strength and Conditioning Coordinator. And that really lit a fire under me as I had taken the past 4 years to film almost 1,500 exercises and drills to put them in a platform that coaches can use at the major league level so that they wouldn't suffer financially like how they had during this time. As I mentioned, I got an office full of computers and monitors. And what we do is create foundational plans for baseball players of all ages, based on age, competitive level, position, injury history, whether they're multi-sport. Those form foundational plans in player development. We have a next rung where it integrates with armcare.com. Our programs are responsive to changes in arm strength. We correct muscular imbalances. We increase weakness of scores in terms of getting them to a higher relative strength for all the throwing arm metrics. We prevent fatigue, looking at post-throwing data using the arm care platform. And this helps us modify for each client. And when we have certain clients who are interested in a major league career, they might be transfer portal players. Some of them are independent league players. We offer something called the Individualized Baseball Performance Plan, or I just call it RC13 Elite. But that's where you get to individualize your plan and build a team with performance pod advisors. That can include registered dietitians. That can also include mental skills performance specialists. And we leverage a lot of those people in Major League Baseball already to advise amateurs and non-affiliated pro players. Going to be great opportunity for every one of you listening. When it comes to compensation, and the immediate need right now is that we are growing a lot of different player development tracks. As I mentioned, there's a bunch of different factors from competitive level, position, injury history, whether they're multi-sport, age. And these particular calendars we call them foundational. And that just means that they do not require any heavy lift as far as dynamic changes. We have analysts that adjust the composition of training to fix the throwing arm. But it's more or less being able to edit programs based on our templates, select the right exercises from the exercise family on Team Builder, and also follow our prescriptive methods, in terms of developing strength and high performance. That's at about $50 a calendar per month, and it shouldn't take any longer than 20 minutes. We're really looking for people that are up to speed with Team Builder. If you're not, we can take the time to teach you. But really high level team builder users, they can get this done probably in less time. Being able to copy exercises, paste them, and go through our nomenclature and make changes. For the individuals, that's about $100. That's generally what has been the rate so far. Focusing on an individual calendar, you can see that this incorporates at the top an individual name and their particular calendar listing or player development track. And that takes a little bit more dynamic changing because the player is, paying for a very high level service, and we have to be very responsive to changes in their throwing program. They might wake up sick. These are things that we have to adjust for a player who's paying for that kind of level of service. And that's $100 per calendar, and shouldn't take more than 30 minutes a month to make those changes. And definitely in the off season, there should be plenty of time for it. When it comes to an individualized program, this is just a brief image of shared sheets that we have that fully lay out a calendar, multidisciplinary for the athlete, whether it is, nutrition, if it's in their mental skills component, the recovery habits. We have an ordered structure to how we keep our athletes healthy, but performing at a super high level. And we have MLB people that do a great job covering the bases and also with our clients having a better understanding of what is expected as a professional player. You all have very unique understanding of your players and the things that really convert for them and the things that take them down. And that kind of intellect and that kind of experience is so important for the players who come to RC13. And we just want to build greater opportunity, not only for the players, but for the great people like you who are in the game at the highest level. Some of the things, if you're on an individualized baseball performance plan with myself and other remote performance pod members, we create a text pod. And in the text pod, it's very highly responsive communication, does not take a long time, is not formal, where you have to have formal meetings, although some of our performance pod members actually have in-place standing meetings at a short time window each month to speak with athletes. You can see that we're posting data and talking about that data and making sure that the athlete knows that we are there and that we are going to be responding to anything that comes up. They could be changing a day on their bullpen as a pitcher. A hitter might be sleeping wrong, and then wakes up with the, scapular pain, subscapular pain. These are things that we are going to take advantage of with the data and the communication and give the player exactly what they need. So this is a big piece because I do want you to understand, how you're currently being compensated, and where we are as far as a passive income. You'd be a 1099 employee of RC13 Sports, but you can see the different designations and, just estimating base salaries. I've seen the salary listings for the past few years as an MLB official. And I've been taking note of where the certain, salary highs and lows are, and I'm trying to ballpark it here, but you're looking at a minor league coach, roughly around 65,000 a year, a coordinator around 100,000 now, an MLB coach is roughly around 150,000, when we're talking in training and high performance. And then, your directors can be up to, 200,000, or your VPs, they can be even more than that. But that just scales, where you would find yourself. And then when you look at your hourly rate, so over the course of my career, I was evaluating how much I actually work in season, off season. I put in more than this, but the average for me was 3,040 hours per year. I worked an 80-hour week like you guys do in the season. I also, if you're in a leadership role, you're pretty much working a 40-hour week in the off season, training athletes who are maybe on your minor league complex site, building programs, making sure you're connected with your off seasons. You're learning yourself, you're developing new strategies, your programming paradigms are being updated. And when you break it down by hour, a minor league coach is making $21.39. An MLB coordinator is making $32.90 an hour. A major league coach is making less than $50 an hour. And a director is making less than $70 an hour. And if you walk into your local, hitting performance center, or you go to become a strength coach on the floor for someone, if you're doing it privately, people that don't have your experience or even your education are starting out at about $100 an hour. And that is pretty common when training athletes. And a lot of what happens is that the MLB employee is making more money in the off season if they're doing things privately, but it also takes a lot on their body and it takes a lot on their time to do that. So one of the things that we do with RC13 Sports is we don't pay by hour, we pay by athlete. And one of this is especially for our individualized programming. And so the biggest key is, teaching our MLB consultants on how to be very time efficient and how to, get themselves underneath, an hour per player. And it's very easy to do by, being auto responsive with the texts, making changes. We'd be leveraging our analysts to help out with making those changes. But essentially, you can make, 4 or 5x on your hourly rate. Where a minor league coach can make $100 per athlete. So if they're really good and they can serve an athlete in 40 minutes, it can be more, upwards of $200 per athlete for a director, which can also increase with being more strategic with time. Some of the ways that I am looking to market our MLB people is through very specialized combines and evaluations. One of these is called the Gold Diamond Combine. This is going to occur in Arizona, where I am going to be looking for help from the local high performance specialists who are around in testing athletes. It's essentially an a la carte evaluation, one-on-one, and it turns out to be, one on four with one athlete and about four performance specialists who come in and will be doing individualized testing with the athletes. But this also gives the athlete a firsthand experience in meeting with these performance specialists. And the hope is that we can continue to advise a high level player who attends this Gold Diamond Combine throughout the year. And that would be somebody who has an extreme focus on becoming a major league player. It would be potentially an advisor recommended player, and it can be others that are MLB hopefuls. College is essentially a byproduct of all of these, that if we can put a player on a path to become a professional, many colleges and other scholarship opportunities are going to arise. The other offering, which is not as time intensive, is the Run, Jump, and Throw Show. And this is something that we are going to be doing in multiple locations in the country and also in Canada, where if high performance specialists who want to work with us are interested in hosting this 4 athlete event, it's about 2 hours, and the testing, evaluation, and instruction will all happen within that time frame. And from there, the athlete will be put on to the RC13 remote PD platform. And again, we want to get the MLB specialist to be in front of the player for the hope of securing that player as an individualized client and maximizing the income level of the high performance specialist that we bring in. These are also paid, just like the previous one. This would be a paid opportunity for the MLB performance specialist who would be running these. None of this would be free or voluntary. And so, this is just another way to get to that higher earning bracket of capturing an individualized player who wants something that's highly specific to them, that can dynamically change. And this gives us a few different touch points for the player to actually meet that specialist and hopefully form a great relationship. In closing this out, I want to reaffirm that our company slogan is our goals are achieving your goals. And I know we've been really focused on the player, but our firm is also focused on the professional and career development of the consultants that serve it. As part of being with RC13 Sports, at least on all the electronic education that I've authored with armcare.com and some of the other ones that I'm putting together, there'll be major benefits, both in discounts for that education. Each person will also get a free certified arm care specialist course certification. You'll learn how to create customizations and modifications based on throwing arm strength, fatigue, and recovery metrics. But the biggest thing before I can end this presentation is that you understand the value system for this particular firm. The first is that we're looking for loyal people, people we can trust, people that want to grow with our firm, and to have this always as an income source and to be somebody that we can count on to deliver, the highest quality programming in the remote space, especially for the price point that we offer. The other thing is having major attention to detail. In remote programming, a lot of what can happen is that there's a herd mentality on what is put out to players. Things don't get adjusted. And we have analysts that help edit programs for athletes that have the portable technology to evaluate themselves. But even when setting the programming on the original dates in the calendar, we need to make sure that there's going to be extreme attention put towards the exercise prescription, the descriptions, the appropriateness for the athlete's age. We do have templates, and we will be making that more simple, as we mentioned earlier in this presentation, but paying attention to detail is a really big piece. And third is meeting deadlines. There's nothing that I could say more about how important this is in terms of running a business or even in what you're doing with your athletes on a daily basis. When you're asked for something, make sure that you are, meeting the deadlines that are put forth. And in our programming videos, we go through how each week will be prescribed, where you would be making edits and when integrated testing would occur inside the remote player development platform. So I really appreciate you paying attention. I hope that this is an interesting opportunity for you, and we look forward to hearing from you when you can reach out. Thanks.